Hi, good afternoon all. This is Sugandhi. I am a business development associate with Pioneer Business Solution. I would like to welcome you all for this session on behalf of Pioneer Business Solution. And before diving to the webinar, I would like to take 2 minutes of time, 3 minutes of time, to just to give a small intro about us, what we are and what we do. So we are Pioneer Business Solution. Our motto is engineering, IT solution, and consulting. And yeah, this is our glimpse of PBS. So we are an end-to-end learning solution for all virtual instructor-led training, classroom instructor-led training, and our different. We will be proactively approach towards the client to give the solution according to their expectation, and we also have an expertised trainer with us who have a minimum SMEs for each and every technologies. And we do give a open house training and webinars also. And we also trade more than 1,500 tried and tested trainer database with us. And I would I'm sorry. And we do support across the world for all the physical and virtual labs. And we support all the technical and functional technologies. And we also trained more than 10,000 participants for all the cutting edge technology. And in the trainings also, we will be understanding their growth, how they are scaling their improvement in the training session. So we'll be giving all the feedbacks in the graphical report. And this is our glimpse, and we are majorly, this is our footprints, corporate training, information technology, mechanical and civil engineering service, cloud services, and HR services. And we do have HR services in permanent staffing, contract staffing, and contract to permanent staffing. And this is our delivery modes. So here we have instructor lead training, like virtual instructor lead classroom training, and we have a hybrid learning, e-learning, and open mentor on demand and open house session. So coming to open house session, where we'll be having very a few nominations for some of the niche technologies kind of thing. So where they will be having very good budget constraints, we will be giving them the solution. For only the charges will be only per participant's charges. And example for some topics, we'll be having very less resources in the market. So even you have wanted to train 4 or 5 participants on that particular technology. So this will be coming under this. So we can give our expertised consultant come trainer who can deliver this kind of training. And this will be conducted as a private batch as well as public batch. So we have a mentor on demand. So nowadays, because of this virtual mode, everything are going in the e-learning modules and all. So post this sessions, post e-learning sessions, so they will be having a lot of doubt clarification. So here we have a mentor on demand where we'll give our trainer who is expertised in that particular uh, technology. We can give the trainer only to clarify the doubt. So that's how we will be very unique, and we are well known in the market for all the niche technologies and all the certification, and we are also Microsoft partners as well, and we do give the certification and as well as the training. And this is our offerings: campus to corporate competency development training, project consulting, and soft skill and behavior development programs. So project consulting is we do take some projects where internally, if they don't have any resources to handle that project, so we will give our expertise SMEs to handle that project till the consultant can handle themselves. So we do have a soft skill and behavior development program. So this is from the freshers to till the CEO level. So we will be having different trainers who is expertised, and we are doing from the basics to advanced level soft skill training also based on the client expectations. This is our clients. We are working from the day, and we are here because of all these clients. So we wanted to explore our services and solutions more across the world. So if any kind of support if required, you always can reach us. So we were very happy to assist. And this is our PPT about us. So we came to the session now. So I hope I not taken much of your time. So let's dive into the session. So we have a Jitu. We used to call him Jitu. So he's a Jitendra Singh Tomar. He's a very friendly trainer, so who can understand the situation and solution according to our expectation, I can say. And he's a Microsoft certified trainer, and he has a decade of experience in the product development and from the training point of view. And today's agenda is what is Ansible and why Ansible, Ansible vocabulary and Ansible configuration and Ansible playbook modules and Ansible in cloud and few of the demo and the Ansible tower. So this is our webinar today. So thank you so much for all joining once again. Let's have this webinar successful. And kindly let us know if you need any support from our side. And thank you so much once again. I welcome Mr. Jitendra Singh Tomar to taking ahead from here. And Jitu, over to you.
Okay, thank you, Sugandhi. Hi, everyone. So let me start with the presentation part. So Sugandhi has already given the overview of what exactly we will be doing today. This is the second series, automation series on one of the most important topic which is going on in the market right now. First, we have already gone through PowerShell last week, which is 9th of March. And the video is already available on YouTube, and the link is already shared with the participants, whoever has logged in. If you have not logged in or you have not registered earlier, no need to worry about that. Today we'll be sending, today or tomorrow we'll be sending another email which will be having all the required details in it. Detail in the sense, uh, the details of what I will be presenting over here, then how you can set up your own Ansible. If you have never worked on it, no need to worry about it. Okay. I have already prepared the document step-by-step procedure for you guys so that if even if you know the basics of Linux, you should be able to set up the entire environment by yourself. And the commands that are required are already there in the documents available. Okay, so my team will be sharing that with you. Plus, there is the recording is going on, so don't worry about that. Now, last week we spoke about PowerShell. I'm not gonna focus too much on PowerShell. We have already done so many things on that. Today, my primary focus will be on Ansible. But before we jump onto that, we should know that why exactly we are going through these automation things and all. So last week we covered PowerShell, which was completely interacting with the Windows environment, and somewhat it can work with the Linux environment as well. But there was one problem with PowerShell. The problem, I'll not say problem, but the big issue with PowerShell is you have to write there a lot. You have to write, you have to know the loops, you have to know the programming part. Okay, even though I told that, okay, non-programmer can work, but ultimately for implementing some sort of logic, again, you need to know basic of programming. Those problems are completely resolved with this particular technology called Ansible. Ansible is gonna help you out in clarifying or write your entire uh, practical with the help of scripts, and then you can manage your entire environment very easily. It is very effective and very easy to set up, also very easy to manage also. Now let's begin with Ansible. So okay, so today's agenda is what is Ansible. We'll be going through some of the basics, then why Ansible is required, Ansible vocabulary. Now Ansible uses several terms which will irritate you if you don't know what exactly those are. So I thought let me put that into the presentation as well. Then hierarchy. Then we'll be looking into the playbooks. The name looks like very heavy, but actually these are the scripts only. In PowerShell, you write PowerShell scripts. In Python, you write Python scripts. Same way, in Ansible, we use Ansible playbooks. Then modules. Most important thing in Ansible. Reason, the entire Ansible is dependent on modules only. There are more than 2,500 modules available for each and every task. There is a module available. If it is not there, for example, you might have some urgency or a complete unique scenario in your production environment. You can write your own custom modules also. So Ansible gives you both the privileges. Then how you can use the conditional flows over here, conditions and control flows. So basically, when you want a particular script or Ansible playbook should be executed in a proper way, or only see, when you talk about the production environment, it is not mandatory that you will be having only Windows environment or only Linux. It could be a mixed environment also. You can have Windows Server 2008, 12R2, 16, or Red Hat Server, CentOS, Ubuntu, even macOS also. So now how it is gonna happen or what exactly you will be doing so that you can manage your entire fleet of servers. Obviously, if I have 5 different kinds of operating system in my environment, I'm not gonna write 5 different Ansible playbooks. I'm not gonna do that. One single Ansible playbook will do the entire job for you. Yes, it is possible. Ansible is capable of, there are modules available because of which Ansible is capable of implementing the same code, or you can say slightly different code for, or same Ansible playbook for multiple operating systems. So I can create one single playbook that can, for example, update all of my machines regularly. After 3 months or maybe 4 months, we have to regularly patch our machines, patch our Linux machines. In Linux also, we have different categories available. So how you will patch the CentOS servers, how you will patch the Ubuntu servers, how you will patch the Red Hat servers. All those things can be written under the conditions, and then you can simply work with them. Then we have Ansible in cloud. So how exactly it is useful, because everything is now moving towards the cloud. So if you're running only on premises as of now, don't worry, in next few 5 years or maybe less than that, you will have to jump because the entire trend is towards cloud only. And finally, we'll be talking about Ansible Tower, and then we'll go for demo. For demos, I have already prepared several scripts. Those scripts are uploaded on GitHub. By end of the session, I will be sharing that link with you. You can simply go ahead and download them. Those all are working scripts. Yesterday only I verified all of them. They're working pretty well. Okay. Now, what exactly is Ansible? So basically, this is an, now look here, most important term. It is the open source automation tool. Okay. When you talk about, when we last time or last week we spoke about PowerShell, it was the Microsoft's own proprietary product. In Linux also we have shell scripting, but if you have both the operating systems in your environment, then one script you have to write, one PowerShell script you have to write for Windows machine, and you have to write one shell script for your Linux machines. But Ansible is something which you write one single script, and that can be deployed for multiple platforms. So here Ansible is an automation, open source automation tool that basically allow you to automate configuration, deployment, and orchestration. Assume that you have to add 10 new servers into your production environment. Okay. Assume you are working in some sort of organization that deals with some website, and on a particular date or event, the traffic is gonna go higher. And you know that, for example, you don't have the cloud environment, you have your own premises. So you know that you have to add 10 more servers. Now think of the entire procedure from the basic. You have to attach all the 10 machines. You have to install operating systems. You have to configure all of them one by one, updating, patching. Then you have to install whatever role, either Nginx or Apache or anything else, depending upon what flavor of Linux you are using. Then you need to configure them. Then you need to make sure that all the 10 servers are completely identical. Okay, so that is a hideous task. It can be done. I'm not denying that it is not possible. I have done it myself. In one of my project, I have configured 10 or 15 servers when I did not know that, okay, and there's something called as Ansible in the environment, in the market. I literally sat down and then I have configured all of them one by one. But now this is not the case. If you have anything like that, nothing to worry about. You just configure the Ansible properly and let it do the job. You have to run it once. You have to just supply the names of the machines, the names or the IP addresses of the machines where the changes are to be done, and all good. You just run it, leave it, grab a coffee. Meanwhile, it will be done. It is so simple now. So it is simple to use human readable format language, that is YAML. The entire playbook or the script, which I am calling from the beginning, it is actually a YAML script. And YAML script is one of the easiest language or easiest scripting language for humans and machines. There are other languages also, like XML is there, JSON is there. XML follows one pretty good rule that you have to use the tags in it, opening and the closing tag. JSON file format basically focuses on brackets or curly brackets to be specific. But here in Ansible, when you use the YAML, YAML purely works on how you have written the particular text. I'll show you the script in a while, but in short, you have to just make sure that your entire YAML script is intended properly, and then you can simply use it without any problem. YAML also uses the key and value pair combination, but here you have to make sure that how you are writing the code, it has to be written exactly in the proper order. It should not it should follow at any cost, it should follow the indentation rule. Next, Ansible is a powerful tool that you can that can help you to automate the IT infra. The same thing I've already explained it to you. So basically, in short, on Ansible is a open source automation tool which uses the YAML syntax. And most important thing, I forgot to tell you. Here in Ansible, you don't have to use or you don't have to install any additional agent on the client machine. You don't have to do that. Ansible is completely agentless. Means you have to just make sure that there will be only one Ansible server in your environment, and that's it. Even if you have 10 servers, 20 servers, 200 servers, 2000 servers, doesn't matter. You have to just provide the names to your Ansible and it is done. On the client side, you don't have to do anything. Just make sure that if it is a Linux machine, SSH protocol is enabled, which is by default enabled, then only you will be able to communicate. We'll be working on, we will be coming to that particular part as well, on how to work with Ansible. But in short, it is completely agentless. You don't have to install Ansible agent on each and every client. Okay. Next is it is very robust. Okay, you have to just make sure that either you provide all the clients or the end nodes as an IP address or name. So directly it can be provided. You can just write it down if you want to implement changes on all the machines, or you can create groups. For example, you can have a QA group, okay, which will be having list of all the QA servers in it. Then you can create a dev group, okay, which will be having list of all the dev servers in it. Then you can have a prod group, okay, where you can have all the actual production servers in it. And for example, if you want to patch them, you can select one group at a time, or even multiple can be done. But on the safer side, we select one group at a time and then we can simply play around with them. That is the beauty of groups in Ansible. And there is no thumb rule that this rule you have to follow to create a group. No, here I have created based on the environment. You can create groups like, okay, this is gonna be my web-based web-based fleet. Okay. Next is gonna be my file and print server. Next is gonna be my let's say DB server. Okay. So you can create groups on any whatever approach you want to use. You can create according to your own need and then you can simply work with them. Then why Ansible? So first of all, it is easy to use. Okay. When we already have so many different technologies available in the market, then why exactly we are going for Ansible? It is very simple. If you are learning Ansible for the very first time, believe me, the moment I'll open the script in front of you, you will understand what's written inside that. By just reading the content itself, you'll be able to identify, because the syntax is very simple and you don't require any additional or higher level or higher knowledge on programming skills or something like that. In PowerShell, earlier we have seen that, okay, somewhat programming is required. If you know, it's okay. If you don't know, then also it is okay. But here, even if you have never written a single program, not even hello world program, still you will be able to manage, or you will be able to at least understand what's written inside the code. It is so easy. Next is it is agentless architecture. Just now I told you that. So here Ansible does not uses any agent that will be installed on the end machine, on the target machine. Okay. Just because of this functionality only, imagine if you have to install agent. Ansible does not uses it, but assume it uses. And you have to install agent on 20 machines. You'll say, Jitu, it is easy, no problem. What if I have 2000 machines in my environment? In one of my projects, I had to manage 5,000 Linux machines. Now imagine if I have to sit and install Ansible client on each and every machine on the target node. It is gonna give me a nightmare. But here in Ansible, we don't have all those things. Just you need one single machine that you'll be calling it as Ansible server. That Ansible server should be connected to all the target nodes and you are done. Next, it supports multiple platforms. So Ansible is capable of managing a wide variety of systems, which can include your Linux, Mac, Windows, anything. And even it supports the cloud environment like Azure, AWS, Google Cloud also. So it doesn't matter you only work within on premises or you have cloud environment, or maybe you work in the hybrid environment. In both the categories, you will be able to work with Ansible. Next, large and active communities. So basically, Ansible has a large and active community of users who can contribute to its development. Okay. If you go to docs.ansible.com, you'll find out that there are tons of resources, pages, documentations are available, which is written by multiple developers, where multiple developers have contributed, and there are tons of other active communities also, which will basically make sure that you will never get stuck into the Ansible issues. Okay, if you find any. So basically how Ansible works. So this is a simple diagram which I found out on internet, but it is very pretty straightforward. So you will be having one single Ansible server. Now it could be a laptop, it could be a desktop, it could be a server. So there is no hard and fast rule that you have to make sure that you have a big server only. No, it could be a simple Linux virtual machine also which you are using. Okay, so any machine can be created as Ansible server node, and this server node will have something called as host inventory. Host inventory is nothing but the list of it will be having the list of IP addresses or names. Generally, we write the IP if you do not have the DNS uh, in your environment. So you can simply go for the IP addresses, and then based on whatever names you have written over here, based on that, you can deploy the playbooks over here. Playbooks are nothing but script. See, every new technology tries to give something new. Sorry. Any new technology will give something new. Okay. So here, instead of calling script, they started calling it as playbook. Okay. So this playbook is nothing but a YAML book, YAML script only that will have the job that needs to be done. So assume that I have created this inventory over here, and in this I want to patch whatever machines are connected over here. I need to patch them. Okay. Because whoever is working on Linux environment, you must be knowing that you have to very frequently patch the Linux machines. Now, after every 2 to 3 months, we will be getting some new patches or new security updates. You have to install that on your machine. Doing that one by one or using any other bigger method is not worth it in this time duration. Okay, you have to make sure that it is done frequently and without any errors. To do that, Ansible is a good tool for you. With the help of SSH, which I'm assuming that your machine is already connected to your server or the client node, just you have to make sure that the SSH connectivity is available. That's it. You have to just run the entire playbook, and Ansible will make sure that all the nodes are updated with that particular script, whatever you have written. And here on the node, you will get a success or failed message or whatsoever has happened. If any machine is not updated or if there is a problem, it will be showing that, okay, this particular IP address is failed. Then you can use some other tools and other methods which will tell you, okay, that what exactly went wrong. Okay, but this is the simple way. And if you're thinking that, Jitu, how we are going to install the Ansible, is it a big procedure? No, just one single command. If you are working on CentOS, yum install Ansible -y, enter, that's it. If you're using Ubuntu machine, apt install Ansible -y, enter, that's it. It is not at all that hard. Just one single line and it will install the entire Ansible for you. Just make sure that when you start working on it, your client machines specifically are all up to date. When I started working on this particular Ansible project, I found out that the machines which were not up to date, where patching was not done properly, had issue while connecting with Ansible. So there is only one requirement, that you have to make sure that your client machines, your target nodes are up to date. That's it. Ansible vocabulary. Okay. So now let us see what all things are available in Ansible over here. So here we have something called as inventory. Just now in the previous slide, I took this name called host inventory. So here inventory is a file, or you can say a simple place where your host or groups, either of them can be available. Group of host will be available. Okay, so like in Linux, we have /etc/host file that converts or that helps in resolving the name to IP. Similar to that, we have one inventory file in any location you can create. Generally, we create inventory in a specific location where I'm gonna keep all of my data. It's not thumb rule. It is just like I want to keep my inventories near to me only. Next is playbook. So it is a YAML script. It's a YAML file that defines the task to be executed. Next, you have module. So this is either it could be a built-in module or it could be a specific custom module also. Now, this could be for anything. A module helps you to perform any and every task that you want. Even from, like, for example, if I have 20 servers available and I just want to ping all of them and verify whether the Ansible can reach them or not, there is a module called ping for them. Assume that your manager told, okay, find out the or give me the inventory, or you can say the detailed hardware and software details of each and every machine available in the environment. Or specifically, he gives the list. Okay, I want the details of only these machines. How you're gonna do that? There is a module for it also. There's a module for copy and pasting. There's a module for renaming. There's a module for creating users. There are tons of modules available that you can simply use. Next is a role. A role is nothing but a collection of, you can say, a task file templates that can be used or reused across multiple playbooks. Okay, so like you have created multiple playbooks and somehow you want to connect them. Somehow you want to fetch data from one script to another. In those particular scenarios, we can simply go for roles. Himanshu writes in the chat, if machine needs to be up to date and I want to install Ansible, machine needs to be up to date and install Ansible to update those. See, when I say your machines should be up to date, that doesn't mean that you have to go to each and every machine and then update them manually, and then only you will be able to work with that. No, that was not my meaning. I said your machines should be up to date. That means, like, see, let me show you. I have these many machines available in my Azure portal. If I create one more machine right now, okay, let me create it so that it will give you more clarity. I think it is free. Now see here, I'm using some Ubuntu default image, and here I am using my top secret password. Okay, all looks good. So right now what I have done, I have just created one virtual machine. Now I want to update or I want to fetch the information from this particular machine. Directly, it will not be possible because this machine is created from an old image. We don't know when that Ubuntu image was created. So obviously, when you log into the very first time to this kind of machine, you update it. That is your first job. When you purchase a mobile, anytime you purchase a mobile, the very first thing you do, you insert your SIM and you update it, right? Because the applications available on that particular mobile will be outdated. That was my term. Okay, so here you have to make sure that it is not a completely fresh machine. If it is a fresh machine, we don't know when last time it was updated. We have to again update manually and then we need to use it. So Ansible will not be able to directly work with this machine, this seventh machine, Ansible CLI 07. Right now, it won't be able to work with that because there are packages which are missing. For example, Python is missing from this particular, and why confidently I'm saying, because just before this particular webinar, I added two machines. Let me show you if I have it over here. It should be there in the history. And two machines were facing problem. Okay. Two machines had C 10.0.0.8 and 9. These machines I have used or I have created in the morning itself. Three machines were already there yesterday. They were working flawlessly. So I thought, okay, let me add two more machines so that I will be having a good number to show the automation. But what happened? Two machines failed with the same error. It failed with the same error. Read the error. Module std out slash bin sh user bin python not found. Now I don't think I have to explain the meaning of this particular line, Python not found. This Python package is not available on that particular machine 0.8 and 0.9. Even it has the same problem. What I had to do then manually, see, I jumped into it and then I checked this out. I checked which Python, so there was no output over here. Then I used apt install Python. It installed it and then simply I logged out. I did the same thing for 08 machine. And after installing the packages, check, all were going flawlessly. This is the reason why I have not closed this shell from from the morning itself. Himanshu, is it clear now what exactly I was trying to explain? Your machines does not, that means there is a dependency, Python. Yes, modules are built on Python only. So Python is expected within Ansible. So we have discussed till rule. Next is play. So play is nothing but a collection of tasks and associated metadata that are executed in a specific order. So basically what and how you have to execute them, those entire procedures you need to execute, that you need to use under the play. Next is the fact and the handler. These are two more terms which are very less used, but still they are there. Fact is basically a variable that represents the state of a target or a host. Handler is a task that is triggered by another task that performs some action. Okay. So these are the basic vocabularies which are used within Ansible. Okay. Now, okay, there are a few more I have added over here. Now the Ansible real-time usage. Okay. How exactly or where exactly the Ansible is getting used nowadays. So you can say server provisioning. So whenever you have to, you can say, let me put that in simple terms. Ansible can simply automate the provisioning of servers, which includes operating system, application, and configuration file in it. So the problem which you have faced, which you have seen just now, that the Python was missing. What I could have done, I could have simply written a Python script in the beginning itself, which will go to or any module I could have written, which will go to that particular machine and verifies if all the mandatory things are there or not. And then I can start working on it. There is also called as pre-task in Ansible, which basically makes sure that before you run the actual script, some uh, some pre-tasks should be executed so that later on you don't have any problem. In pre-task, this updating the operating system can also be done, or installing the Python also can be done in that pre-task. So all these things can be considered under server provisioning, where I can write my code to deploy how many servers I want, and simply I can work with them. Next is application deployment. Application deployment is also very easy when you talk in terms of Ansible. Ansible can basically used to automate the deployment of application, including their dependencies, configuration files, scripts. You want to do some modifications, anything and everything related to one particular application can be modified. So assume that you have one single application which is distributed across 5 servers. Okay. And there is some sort of modification that you have to do. Now it has to be an identical manipulation, or identical modification is required in this particular scenario. And being humans, we are very much tend to do some errors in those configuration files. So what we can do, we can use Ansible for these kind of deployments or modifications also. Next is configuration management. So basically, it is used for configuring configuration of your server, your users, network settings, system settings, anything that you want to configure for a particular server. You can simply use Ansible for it. Then this term, continuous integration and continuous delivery, or CI/CD, is basically a term used in the DevOps. So here Ansible can be used to automate basically all the tasks like build, test, deployment of application, pipelines, everything. You can simply use Ansible in that scenario as well. Then simply you have cloud infrastructure management, you have security compliance, you have disaster recovery. These are the basic uh, places, or you can say the real usages of the Ansible, where you can simply deploy Ansible and then you can simply deal with them. Okay. Next is Ansible playbook. So I already told you that it is nothing but a YAML script. Okay. So an Ansible playbook is a YAML file that defines a set of tasks to be executed on one or more host. It is all up to you what exactly you write inside that particular Ansible script. Only that will be deployed. Now, one thing to be assumed over here. As of now, you are thinking, okay, I can simply, or whatever I have told based on that, if you are imagining, okay, I can write one single script which can patch all 10 machines or 100 machines. In real time, is it possible without the password of all the machines? Think of it. We are talking here about updating or uh, manipulating multiple machines with one single system. Is it doable without the password? Can we do all such kind of things? Answer is without password, no, it is not doable. You have to create one single user which will be available and which can interact with all the other machines as well. Plus, there should be a password written for each and every. Either you can assign it to a user, or one single Ansible password you can create. Without that password, you'll not be able to perform any task on any machine. See, if you are only talking about pinging those 10 machines or 100 machines, okay, there is no password required. You can do that without password interaction also. But here we are talking about configuring my application or updating my operating system. These kind of things, when you talk about, then in that case, obviously you should be having a password. So password can be also attached when you start executing them. I'll show you. There is one parameter you have to use with that. Playbooks are the heart of Ansible automation. That is a very obvious statement because even if you have installed Ansible, you have connectivity to all the host, but if you have not written the Ansible script or you have not executed simple Ansible command, you will not be able to do anything simple. So you have to make sure that you declare whatever you want within the Ansible script, okay, and allow you to define the desired state of infrastructure in a declarative way. So basically, you don't have to write the complete detailed uh, uh, statements or detailed loops or conditions or anything. Just the glimpse of it, like the proper declarative statements should be available in the script and it is all good. If you write simply particular role and state equals maybe present or absent, so automatically Ansible will understand, okay, the particular service should be either available or it should not be available. If you talk in terms of any other language, you have to actually write down a complete statement. If the the service is running, then leave it. If it is not running, then start it. For starting also, you have to make sure you're writing the actual code for it. But here, the same thing can be done in a single line also. Next, some key components of Ansible playbook. There are some key components which are added inside an Ansible playbook, which will basically do the entire job. Few of them I've written over here like host. Okay, so this is basically the term where now you have to deploy your implementation using Ansible. So if you have written host colon and you have written all, for example, now in this statement, what the statement will do, whatever entries are available inside the inventory, that script will be deployed on all of them. If you have written host colon and a group name, like for example, dev. Okay, so now whatever changes you want will be only applicable or it will be only deployed onto the dev environment only. That is the beauty. So you can simply restrict the entire implementation. So either you can implement the Ansible on one single machine or a group of machines or all of them also. It is so simple. Next is variables. So basically we use variables in playbook like package name, paths, which completely varies. Okay. And these variables can be simply defined on the top of the playbook itself. So it's like on the top of the playbook, you are implementing or you are writing the variable definition and then later on you are using the variable name. Okay. If you know programming language, for example, just assume that I have written a very huge script. And in that script, I have written the networking or network interface card address slash etc slash uh, so many paths are there and then it reaches IFG ETH0, something like that. So that name itself is very huge. So put that entire name into a variable and then you start using it. Similar to that, we have several things like task, where you can deploy or write the task or the commands that you want. Then you can use the modules, which module you want to deploy for your script. Then you can use handlers, you can use roles, conditions, loops, templates, and so on. There are tons of things that can be simply written over here. And each and everything has to be written in a proper order. Then only it will work. Next is Ansible modules. So here, Ansible modules are nothing but the building blocks for your automation. Okay. Ansible itself contains more than 2,500 modules in it, which is pretty big number. Still, if you think that, okay, the type of work you have and the module is not available, you can write down your own module in Python language. Obviously, for that, you have to be somewhat knowledgeable on the programming part, but it is doable. Or there are tons of other open websites available which basically gives these kind of modules, but generally I don't trust them. In production also, I'm not gonna suggest that you should be using those kind of uh, open modules. We don't know what kind of harm they can do in the backend. Okay, so they are simply small pieces of code which basically perform some tasks like managing files, installing package, configuring network device, and deploying application. So for everything, there is a module associated with it. Next, there are three major modules, or you can say three types of modules in Ansible. One is the core, then extra modules, and then custom modules. So depending upon the requirement, you have to deal with these kind of modules. Now, core module is something, or you can say these are the modules that are uh, available or shipped by default with the Ansible, and Ansible itself manage them. Okay, the ping module, which I was talking in the beginning, or gather fact to get the inventory details, we have the core modules available. Then you can have extra modules, which is contributed by Ansible community, but they are not uh, part of the core module. It's like the additional modules given by uh, the Ansible community. So core, in easy terms, if you want to understand, the example which I have taken where you have purchased a phone, in that there will be some default applications. These default applications are your core module. Then Google Play Store itself or Apple App Store itself will give you some additional modules, which is basically your extra modules. Custom modules are the modules that are created by user to perform specific tasks. And these are not part of either the core or the extra modules. So you have to make sure that you understand the concept properly, which module you have to use, what kind of module you're going to use in your script. So that you have to understand very clearly. Next is, as I told you, Ansible provides over 2,500 modules, cover wide range. So 2,500 is a big number, but still, depending upon the requirement of your production, this 2,500 might not be the number that you're looking for. Okay, you want your specific module. So sometimes you can create it. Sometimes these are already available on uh, third-party websites. Now, some of the modules which are available or which are commonly used within Ansible is listed over here. I've taken few names like file module. So basically, file module is helpful in managing files and directories on a remote host. So if you want to manage files and directories, then in that case, you can use the file module. When I say managing files and directories, it could be creating files, it could be modifying files, it could be modifying permissions, copying files, anything related to a file or a directory comes under the file module. Next is the service module. So service module is basically used to manage the system services on a remote host. So assume that you have to make sure that your SSH service is running, or your Samba SMBD service is running, or your NTP service is running, or your WinRM service is running. For these kind of services, you have to make sure that service module is properly used. Then we have package module, which helps in installing, removing, or uninstalling, updating packages. We have template module, which basically is used for generating files from the template. So if you have created some templates in your environment and then you have to convert them into regular files, this can be used. We have user module, So basically, this module is used for creating, modifying, deleting users and groups. User modules can do both for users and groups as well. Okay. And even their passwords. Then next is the Git module. It is one of the additional module, okay, which basically manages your Git repository. Maybe your application uh, needs to clone some additional Git repository, or it needs to fetch the information or pull the changes which is done on the Git repo. Then you can use the Ansible module for that as well. Then you have shell module. So basically for running the shell scripts, one-liner commands, we can use the simple shell module over here. We have Docker module for Docker and containers for starting, stopping, managing the containers. And finally, we have the AWS module, so which is basically for managing your launching EC2 instances or S3 buckets or managing your RDS instances, anything. So you can see I have taken only few modules out of 2500. I've taken only few names over here, which very pretty simple way gives the definition of what exactly they are doing. So depending upon the requirement, you have to uh, understand, depending upon the requirement, you have to understand and then use that particular module. I got a question in the chat, how to confirm whether modules are installed or not. See, you don't have to install any module by default. When you install Ansible, Ansible by default downloads and keeps all the available modules. And whenever you patch or when you upgrade your Ansible application version in that particular manner, you will be getting the uh, updated version of that particular module. By default, you'll be getting that. Now, if you want to use something different, if you have your own custom module and you want to use that, then in that way, what you have to do, you have to specify the path of the module when you are running that particular command. In the path itself, you have to write -m, and then you need to provide the entire path of that particular module, and then it will be deployed over here. Next is Ansible conditions and conditionals and control flows. So here, basically, Ansible provides a number of, you can say, flow statements to basically work with your uh, Ansible playbook. So some of them I have used over here, like we have when condition. So I want to check a particular condition should be fulfilled, then only the particular action should be taken. Then only the particular code or whatever command you have written should be executed. So for example, if I have written a particular Ansible script for updating only the Ubuntu images. Okay, so I have a set of Ubuntu servers, I have set of CentOS servers, I have set of Red Hat servers also. In that, I want this particular module to update only the Ubuntu because Ubuntu uses apt command. CentOS and Red Hat uses yum commands to update their packages. Okay, so if you use this particular Ubuntu case here for CentOS and Red Hat, it will fail definitely. Okay, so what we can do, I can create one individual script, or in one single script only, I can use the when condition. I can find out when the operating system or the Ansible distribution is equal to Ubuntu, then install or execute that particular code. If it is CentOS, then execute this code. If it is Red Hat, then execute this code only. So these kind of things can be written inside your code depending upon the condition that you are the condition that you where you want to execute your script. So we have several conditional flow statements like when, loop, until, and failed when. So I've taken several examples over here. So first thing, this entire black background image is an example of YAML script. Here is my name, okay, the key, and this is the value, okay. This is the value, this is the key. Then you can see here service. named name given as HTTPD and service is restarted. Now see, even if you don't know that what exactly you have to do, by looking at the code itself, you can identify, you can understand. If you have to write the same thing in a different technology, for example, let's say PowerShell. So now I have to implement multiple things over here. I need to check the condition. Okay, for name should be HTTPD and the state should be restarted. Then do this particular job. So rather than writing that complex code, Ansible decreases all of my complexity over here by writing these kind of things. This is about the when condition. You can see here in between, I have written the keyword when. Sorry. So this allow a task to be executed only when a certain condition is met. So restart the HTTP service when httpd.conf, it is the configuration file for the web service, changes. Okay, this is just the name which I have written over here, but actually this is the code. This is the real code. This name could be anything. I can write haha, why so serious? Anything I can write it over here. But this line basically is to tell to the admin that what is going on right now. Okay, what actually is happening is written over here. This is the service should be restarted when HTTP config is changed file. Changed file is one of the module over here. So this is how you have to basically write down your code and then you simply play around with that. Similarly, there is a loop. Okay, so this allow a task to be executed repeatedly for each item in the list. So here, this particular will be executed. This is the way how you create a variable actually. And here you have written different names and the loop will be executed one for HTTPD, second time it will be executed for MariaDB, third time it will be executed for PHP. Okay, so it is entirely different from what if you have learned any other programming language. This is completely different, but it is much simple also. Okay, initially, yes, I agree. It looks a little bit horrible. Even I felt it. There's nothing wrong in that. Okay, when you start writing the code, then you will realize, okay, how easy it is. If you understand the code, it becomes quite easy. Now have a look here. One more thing. Here is the hyphen declared and check. All the major names are there in the same loop and there is a space over here. This is the real indentation for the YAML script. You have to fulfill this entire thing. Otherwise, there will be an error in your code. Next is the until condition. So this allow a task to be repeated until a certain condition is met. So it will wait for these three things to happen. Otherwise, it will be keep on waiting. If it is fulfilled, then it will print the message. Result is success. But otherwise, it will be keep on waiting for you until unless you simply receive this entire state on your machine. So this is something like, OK, I have restarted my machine and I have to then wait. I have to wait until that particular machine is up and running and then only I need to proceed further. So in these kind of situations, you can simply use this until statement. And then failed. Similarly, in the same way, this task allows a task to be marked as failed based on the result. So here you can see this is the command to basically check the uh, total disk usage. And here, if it is not configured, you'll be getting the error over here. So these kind of conditions basically will help you out in understanding that what is happening with your machines. Because when you automate something, what generally happens, you will be either getting success message or you'll be getting detailed error on your screen. So you have to go through each and everything properly and then only you will find out that what went wrong. But here, simple line will give you why it failed. Simple. Now, supported environments. So Ansible basically is available for different types of environment like infrastructure environment, cloud, operating system, application environment as well. So these are the supported environments where Ansible can basically work flawlessly. I have done all the practicals within the cloud environment. I could have done in my own on-premises. I could have simply taken VMware Workstation, installed multiple machines on that, but cloud gives me much more than just single virtual machines. Okay, there are pre-installed what do you say, operating systems available. I can just copy them, start using them. Okay, it is much faster. Okay, so these are the different supported environments which you can use, where you can use Ansible without having any problem. Ansible in cloud. So basically, overall, Ansible has become the mostly used application on the cloud itself. There are multiple virtual machines that by default has Ansible installed in that. You have to just configure a few basic things and you are good to go with that. You can start using them. Okay. By default, Azure, AWS, Google Cloud, or any other major cloud vendor supports Ansible. You just have to either purchase or take the virtual machine which has the Ansible in it, or you can deploy everything by yourself from the scratch. And ultimately, this will completely help you in managing each and everything within your environment. Okay. Now the lab setup. This is the practical lab setup which I have deployed on my system. Okay, I have one Ansible Ubuntu machine. This is my Ubuntu machine. Okay, where I have installed Ansible and I have taken a default user called G2. Okay, my nickname. G2 is the user which is already available on each and every machine because I need to contact all of them. So I've taken one single user itself. You can change the username also. And whatever scripts I have created over here, these scripts are completely synchronized on my GitHub page. Okay. All the scripts, what I have created, whatever I have modified, anything and everything is available on the GitHub. So by the end of the session, I will be sharing the GitHub link with you. You can directly clone the content or download the content from the GitHub page as well. If you have not created the GitHub account yet, please go ahead in the evening and create that. Now, how exactly it is gonna work out? So this is one single Ubuntu server, and these are my Ubuntu client machines. Okay, this is client one, this is client two, this is client three. I have taken by default Ubuntu machines, but it is not mandatory. You can take CentOS also, you can take Red Hat also, you can take Windows also. But for these different operating system, there might be changes that you have to apply over here in your scripts. Okay, not one single Yum package manager will work on all of them. Yum will only work on CentOS and Red Hat, not on Ubuntu. Okay, so you have to write down the code in such a way that it will be valid for all the machines. Okay, so this is the basic lab setup which I will be using here to show the uh, details of what exactly we have to do. Okay, now enough theory, too much with the theory part. Now let's jump onto the practical and see what exactly we can do with the help of Ansible. Now, for that, as I have already told you, this VM is created. So here you can see I have 7 virtual machines available. Okay, if these are not visible, let me magnify a bit. So here you can see Ansible CentOS 1. So clearly the name says this is the CentOS machine. Ansible CLI 01207. These all, even including server 01, these all are Ubuntu machines. for the practical purpose, I've taken all same and one different only. Okay. So now Ansible server 01 is connected over here using one of my favorite tool, that is MobaX term. I know the name is quite different. MobaX term. You can use this utility, which I am using over here. If you don't know about this, no problem. You can simply stick to one of the oldest uh, utility, that is putty, or any other utility or application that can basically allow your machine to connect with that remote machine, that Linux remote machine. Okay. My favorite is MobaX term. I'm using this from a very long time, so I will stick to this only. Okay. Their login procedure might be different. Once you log in over there, it is all same only. Nothing will change. Okay. Now here I am already connected to my machine, which has the IP, I think 10.4. Okay, I'm very bad in remembering names and IPs. Sorry for that, but I will be keep on checking whenever I have to work with IP. So you can see here my IP address is 10.0.0.4. It could be any IP address range. There is no specification that it should be working with only class A, class B, or class C IP address. Okay, it could be anything. You just need the working IP address. It could be public IP address also. Okay, it's not mandatory. It will only stick to the private IP addresses. No, it could be public as well. So Ansible is feasible in any way. Now here, what I have done is this is the uh, GitHub page where all of my scripts are available. You can see some of them were committed yesterday. Some of them were committed 1 hour ago, 2 hours ago, or something like that. So I tried creating multiple things for you guys so that you can basically see and understand that what all is happening over here. What each and every file is doing, I have also tried explaining it over here in this particular format. Okay, so you can simply take advantage of these scripts when it is done. And if you're still imagining that what exactly or how exactly we have to install it, it's not that difficult. I have already created a step-by-step guide for you guys, where from the basic, obviously I have not explained how to create the virtual machine, but if you want, I can share one PDF. If you guys need it, please drop a comment in the chat. I will definitely share how to create a Linux virtual machine using Azure. You can use any other cloud platform or your own on-premises machine also. Okay, so this is the basic setup which I have used. Now, here you can see this is my machine, my username called G2, which is logged in on Ansible SVR01. To verify Ansible is installed or not, you can simply use the command which space Ansible, enter, and it returns something like this. Okay, that means the particular product is installed right now. Then after that, what I have done, I will write down here in the notepad. There are three things which I have done after this particular thing. First thing is I have created my SSH private and public keys. I have basically created public and private keys. This key will be basically used for the next procedure. Without that, you will not be able to proceed. If you try doing that, it will not work out. Simple. Okay, so you have to create a public and private key over here. And then next step is what you need to do is you need to copy the public key to all the nodes, or you can say the target nodes. Okay, you have to make sure that you are copying all uh, you are copying the public key to each and every node. This is mandatory. Without that, Ansible will not be able to Without this, Ansible will not be able to communicate to that particular machine. I got a question in the chat, how to simulate the Ansible environment in a single laptop. To do this, simply you can use VMware Workstation or Oracle VirtualBox or Hyper-V Manager on your machine, depending upon if you are using the company's laptop and it is Windows 10, you can simply enable Hyper-V on that machine. If you're using your personal machine and you have VMware Workstation available, if not, you can download from VMware website. From there, you can download and then simply you can work with that. You can create multiple VMs, at least one VM will be there as your server. So ignore that. At least two more VMs are required for better understanding. Even if you have one server, one client, that is more than sufficient. Okay, I am doing everything on cloud. That's why I'm running 7 VMs over here. Okay, so you can use that kind of scenario. If still it is not clear, then I will be dropping my email in the end. You guys can shoot your queries in that particular mail IDs, and depending upon the setup that you have, I will share the planner for you, the what exactly the possible things that you can do within that machine. Okay. Or easily or simply, I'll say the easiest method would be you will be having credit card. Okay, so you can go to Azure, create a credit card, create a free Azure account, which will be free only for 30 days. 30 days is more than enough to perform all these practicals. You don't have credit card, don't worry, you can create AWS accounts. AWS accounts are AWS account requires only debit card or credit, both. Okay. Account can be created on debit or credit, both of the cards can be used, and then you can simply work with that. Okay. So first thing here, what you have to do, you have to create SSH key. Second, you have to copy the keys to all the target nodes. And finally, you have to, uh, let's say first install the Ansible package and update all the packages. This is the basic thing that you have to perform. When you work with a fresh machine, updating the package is the first thing that we perform every time. Okay. In front of you guys, I have not updated this Ansible CLI 07, and I will show you that how it fails. Let me copy the IP. You can see here it is 0.10. I will use that in my code. Now, all these machines I have registered in a file called inventory. Oh, sorry, I'm in a wrong path. Ansible cat inventory. So you can see here I have 0.5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And now what I will be doing, I will be adding my 10th 0.10 IP also. But I'm telling you right now that it will fail. Okay, just to prove my point. Why it will fail? I have not copied the public key onto this 0.10 machine. That is point number one. Second, I have not updated that 0.10 machine. So I'm having 99.9% doubt that it will fail. Okay, so don't worry. Let's see what exactly happens over here. Okay, first we'll try to update them. If it updates, okay. If it is not, then we'll try to resolve that particular problem, that why exactly it is not working. Okay, so to do that, simply what you have to do is you have to use a command here. It is there in my history. I will use that command only. Okay, let's check this particular. Copying the public key from server to client or vice versa. only server to client. Only server to client. That's it. Only one-way communication is required. Okay. Now here, this is the command Ansible hyphen playbook. No, not Ansible playbook. This is for, yeah, this is the command. Ansible hyphen all hyphen m ping. Hyphen m is the module. What is the module name? Module name is ping. This is not a general ping. Okay. This is not at all equivalent to ping space 10.10.10 something. Not like that. This is the Ansible ping. So what Ansible will be doing, it will be pinging at the same time. It will be checking if the machine is ready for the Ansible usage or not. Everything will be done with this one single module itself. So when I run it, see what happens. Okay, see here 10 dot something it is asking, and let's wait for it to complete. It's showing something on 10.10. Just hold on for some time. Okay, let's see what happens. Look here, guys. 10.10 unreachable. If I simply ping this 10.0.0.10, if I ping it, you can see it is pinging. But when I use the Ansible ping module, it says here it fails. And what is failing over here? Failed to connect to the host via SSH, host key verification failed. If you look at this particular point, I created the key. That is the reason it is available already in my machine. But check the second point. I have not copied the public key onto that machine. This is the reason why it is failing over here. Okay, so what I have to do next is simply SSH hyphen copy dot 10. Okay, yes, my super secret password and done. Let's try connecting it once just to see if it is working, and it is working. You can see here Ansible CLI 07. Okay, I'm not updating this right now. I'm not going to update it. Control D, I'll come out of it. You can see the connection is closed. Now let's run that same command again, that ping command again. Enter. And see, again it failed. Again it failed. Read the error this time. What it says, when Python not found. The same problem which I've told you earlier. Now this problem is appearing over here because we have never ever updated my machine, not even once. So it is the same old package which was available or which got installed on whatever day we don't know. So here what I need to do, I need to manually I can connect to this and I will become the, oh come on, sudo over here. And now simply what I will be doing, I will be going for apt install Python. Okay. Python 3. It's already in use. Okay. Which Python? Python is not there. Python 3. Python 3 is installed. Okay. So let's update this. Apt update and apt upgrade hyphen y. Just wait for some time. I actually don't, I thought that I'll not jump into this, but this is a problem for the first timers. When you actually work with a new machine which is not up to date, it basically gives this kind of problem. So update it once. Once it is updated, you are done. Okay. If you notice, I have not installed anything apart from Python on this Linux machine, and even Python, you can see it was already there. So in short, technically, I have not installed anything, any additional machine onto this, or sorry, application onto this machine. 99%. And come on. Okay, so you can see here it is updated now. So I'll press Control D, I'll come out of it and one more time. And now I will ping to this particular. Let's see what happens. Okay, still it failed. Same error. Okay, this is not what I was expecting. Okay, now Python is getting updated. Python 2.7. Cool. See, 0.5, 0.8, 0.9, 6, 7, 10. All the machines successfully pinged over here. So this is only one-time investment that you have to make sure that your targeted machine is up to date. It is available with all the packages, especially Python package. I am using Ubuntu version. It might be a very old version on Azure portal. Maybe because of that it is not working. But if you download, I'm also clarifying that if you download the latest Ubuntu ISO and then install it, possibly 99.99% chances that you will directly get the success message because it will be having all the packages and everything already available for the usage. Okay, so that was the only problem over here. So this is how the ping statement works. Now see here 10.5 pipe symbol success bracket start changed. Did it change anything? No. For ping it is replying pong. Okay, so this is how basically the Ansible gives the response for the ping statement. Okay, you don't have to worry about anything. This is exactly what we were expecting. Now, once this is done, now we can actually start working on our code. So here my location is, you can see here /home/g2 Ansible webinar. This is the folder. This location can be any location. Ansible is not at all dependent on one single location. Okay, so here on the desktop itself, I am working. And if you check, I have several files available over here. And whatever ends with .yml is a YAML script. YAML scripts can be written either, okay, either as .yaml, obviously in small, or they are written as .yml. Either of these two extensions can be used for YAML script. And here, if you notice, I have read.md. This is my configuration file. This is YAML file. OK. Inventory does not require any extension, so I left it like that. YAML and retry. So before executing this particular, before starting the webinar, I was trying something and that trying failed. Using the Ansible, it got failed. So when it failed, what it did, it generated a file.retry file over here. Means some file name dot retry will be there. When you open this file, you will find out what and where it went wrong. Okay, so be very careful with that and remove. So here, this is what I have done. Now, obviously, I cannot write so many scripts in 2 hours of session. If definitely we have uh, you can say 8 hours of workshop or anything like that, then definitely I'll show you how you can create all these things one by one. But for now, I'll try to explain maximum things out of it. First thing first, I'll show you inventory file, which has all of my names in it or IP addresses in it. So whatever, now you can see here, I've just written IP addresses, nothing else. Meaning whatever will happen, all the machines will be updated over here. All of them. As of now, there is no group available. In my second part, I will show you, second part means today itself. In some time, I'll show you how you can group them and how you can work with them. So this is my inventory file. Now I'm going to take my first file as, let's say, install Apache. I'm using Vim editor. You can use any of them. I'm not going to judge you for that, but simply I'm using Vim editor. And Vim editor, when I open it, you can see there is something, few lines written over here. If you look at this dot or hyphen or minus symbol in the beginning, this is how a YAML script starts. The actual meaning is there should be 3 hyphens and then only you will be able to, you should write the code, but this is a shortcut. Then host, on which host the below task should be performed. You can see here I've written all the hosts present in the inventory file, all of them. OK, if you want, if you have created group like dev, like prod, like QA, then I have to write those names over here. Then become true. That means, do I have to become a root user for that? True. Then task. What task do you have to perform over here? So here, this is the name which will be displayed on the top. When you run the YAML script, this is what you'll be getting on the top. So that you can find out, OK, this is what is actually happening inside the machine right now. OK, so here what I have done, I've simply written the name install Apache 2 package. Simple. And you can see then we have apt because we are targeting the Ubuntu machines. We have one CentOS also. If you run this on CentOS, it will fail. CentOS does not support apt. But this is the code how you write it. Name should be Apache and state should be latest version should be available. Simple. Latest version should be available. Now here below second code I have written, second package I have written, that is add PHP support for Apache. Again apt and name and latest. Simple. No if, no else, no any other additional for loop or something like that. Simple. By looking at this code itself, you can clearly understand that what might be happening in the backend. And this is what actually we do. But this code, if I run it, it will fail for my CentOS machine. OK, let me run it and let me show you how it works or how basically it fails. OK, now here I will quit the file. And then here you have to write one specific exact line, OK, which will make sure that the particular code is running and getting executed properly. Without that, you will not be able to use these type of what do you say, commands and everything properly. So here what I have to do, I have to simply use the command. I'll grab the command from the top itself. Yeah, this one. Apache.yaml. Okay. So you can see here, this is the Ansible hyphen playbook. This is the command that is by default gets installed when you install the Ansible. And to run a playbook, you have to use this command. And now if you look at this code over here, ask ask hyphen become pass. This line itself will be useful for asking the password to execute whatever is written inside this playbook. I can run the script without this particular parameter, but the result will be a failure. You will not be able to elevate your privileges, hence you will fail. So I have to provide this particular parameter to install my packages. Now here, the moment I hit enter, it is asking sudo password. And you have to provide your sudo password over here. Okay, whatever password you have given for user. There is one more approach where you can tie a different password with Ansible. Okay, your user password will be different and there is another password associated with Ansible. Even that can be done. Okay, now let it get completed. Let it work. Okay, on 7 it failed. Just hold on for some time. Let's see what is happening and then we will try to understand the output. Okay, let it work. Now, if you look at this properly, look at the output. There are some different colors available. This is how Ansible displays the output. What it did initially after hitting the password, I have given the password over here, and then it says play all. So this play all is basically on which host, the very first line, which host will be impacted with this particular script. So there it is, all. Fine. Next is task. So it performed the task of gathering facts. Gathering facts is nothing but it will be getting or it will be fetching the detailed information of all the what do you say machines which are available in your inventory. It will try to fetch all the details. Okay, and then basically it works with them. This gathering fact is a default structure, default mechanism in Ansible. You can't change that. Okay, it will be there. It will happen every time. Next, this is the default structure. What is happening as of now? What we have done, check this out. Task. A task got executed and then the task says install Apache 2 package. Does it look like the same term what we have seen inside the file? Name, colon, and something, something we have written. That something is basically this thing, which is showing me that what actually happened over here. Now, inside this task, you can see one is fatal and the other one says changed. Fatal 10.0.0.7 failed, change false, command apt update, message error, no such file or directory. Means something related to the apt update command is not working in this 10.0.0.7 machine. Now, why it is not working? Let me show you. If I go back to 10.7, this should be, I think, 03. Hold on, let's see. It is 02. No. Let's check for 4. Oh, come on. The name itself is here. This is my 10.0.0.7. Why it failed? The name itself says it is a CentOS machine. If you don't trust G2, no problem. Operating system, Linux, CentOS 7.9. And none of the CentOS version works on apt-get package manager. We all know that. If you look at this Ansible CLI 01, check this out, Linux Ubuntu 18.04 and Ubuntu accepts apt-get package manager, apt advanced packaging tool package manager. It works on that. So this is the reason why 7 got failed. That is point number 1. But others, it worked because these remaining 5, 6, 9, 8, 10, these all 5 machines are Ubuntu based systems only. Here also it worked, and you can see here to retry. Like if you want, so if something went wrong and you want to retry, here it has given the command also that you can see here, install apache.retry. We'll open that file in a while. Just hold on and check. So here is the task, add PHP support for Apache. It worked for all of them. And play recap. If you recap this entire, like in old serials, TV serials, they will give a recap that what happened in the previous episode. Here you can check this particular package. OK, changed, unreachable, failed. So there are 4 states over here. So OK 3, that means 3 validations were checked. Out of 3, 2 were modified. Which 2? Apache and PHP. 2 were modified. Unreachable is 0 because it was reachable. If it is actually not reachable, then it becomes 1. And failed means if any failure happened. So you can see in the list of failed, there is only one failed equals to 1, which is 10.7. So the output might be a bit new for you, but once you get familiar with this particular output, believe me, it is the game changer. By looking at the output itself, I can understand anything, what has happened, what failed, what went wrong, which machine was affected. Everything can be pointed out with this particular approach. Simple. This is how basically you have to work with the remaining scripts also. Now, this is not only about running the scripts, guys. It's not only about that. I can also, like, for example, there is only one package I need to install. Should I write a Ansible script for that? No, not required only. You can write one-liner command itself. Let me write down that command. That simple command is Ansible space all, means on all the machines in the inventory should be modified, should be updated. Hyphen M. Hyphen M is basically for the module. Which module I'm gonna use? I'm gonna use the apt module. Hyphen A, name equals, application name equals something like Vim hyphen Nox. This is one of the Vim improved package called Nox. OK. Then become double hyphen ask become hyphen pass. OK. Become root user and then ask for the password. So when I simply do this and hit enter, it is asking for the password. Let's do that and see what happens. OK, for 7, it failed. Fine, same problem. APT. See, can you see all that yellow stuff and all? So this Nox package, Vim-Nox package actually got installed on every machine except 10.0.0.7, which is basically uh, your CentOS machine. Apart from that, here it was already there. Now see, it says success. So where the package is already available, it is not updating for that. It is not reinstalling for that. But where it is not there, 10.0.9, it was not available. So what it did, it basically updated or installed the entire package, even on 0.8 also. See. So it is not mandatory that you have to run one-liner commands you have to use small things, and for that you have to run a script only. You can use simple one-liner commands and it will basically do the job. But when you have bigger things like, let's say, let me okay, let me show you this one, this file cat, this remove Apache. Okay, not this one, sorry. Install apache.retry. That is the file. Yeah, that is the file. You can see on 10.7, it got failed. It is asking me to work on 10.7 machine. Nowhere it is showing or writing everything, but clearly name says retry on 0.7. So you need to do basic homework that why it got failed and all those things, and then only it is gonna work out. So what I will do now is I will remove that Apache again, okay, from all the machines because I have to reinstall that. Okay, I can do that with a single script. Oh, come on, this is not going to work out. Sorry, I have mistyped the password, so I cancelled it. Again, it is doing, you can see task done, fatal, it is expected, fine, ignore that. It is going to change for all the other machines and it is done. Removing the package in such a easier manner. Just imagine if you have to do the same thing manually. Think of it. I did not even close my statement and the execution was over. And it got removed. If I log into any of them, verify, it was not available as of now. But I'm not going to do that because I will be installing it again for CentOS and for Ubuntu, both using this script. Let's see what's inside that script now, which will actually make things more clear. Now, if you look at this, it is starting with 3 dots, as I told you earlier. Host equal all, that means it will be implemented for all of them. Then name is, so here I have taken one single name, install Apache 2 and package so and so. Okay. Here apt I'm using. Now this will be only executed. This entire will be only executed when Ansible distribution equals Ubuntu. So this entire code will be only executed if your operating system is Ubuntu. That simple. And this much will be executed when your operating system is CentOS. If it is Red Hat, remove that CentOS and write Red Hat over here. If it is Windows, then you have to write Windows over here. So here I'm using when condition to identify when it is equal to CentOS, then only run this particular command. So 22 lines contains all the detailed information and everything in just 22 lines, which includes, by the way, spaces also. Now, here I'll close the file because I have not modified it, so I'm not gonna save it. Now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna basically run this file. Install Apache for different OS.yaml, enter password and enter. And it will start implementing. It is checked, it is skipping. Hold on, just hold on for some time. Just hold on. Changed. Install HTTP. Okay. Now check this out. Play and task, it is by default nature, so we can't do that. We can't change that. Task, install Apache package so and so. What it is doing, it is this time not showing fatal. If you look at the earlier messages, it is showing fatal. Okay, but this time it is showing skipping. Intentionally, it is skipping 10.0.0.7. Why? Because these entire machines are Ubuntu and one of them only is CentOS. So what it did, it automatically skipped that operating system. But next time, what it did, install HTTP and so on CentOS. It is skipping all just the reverse format. It is skipping all the Ubuntu machines and OK showing OK on one single system itself, which is my CentOS machine. And finally, you can see here, none of them failed. All failed equals 0. Okay. Here it is showing OK on 0.7. It might be already installed. So that's fine. But this is how Ansible playbooks can completely change anything and everything that you want from your system. It can install package, it can uninstall package, it can do anything and everything that you want to perform. Okay, now let me show a few more things like let's say, okay, let's say disk info.yaml. So now my manager gave me a task that, okay, Jitu, do one thing, give me the slash, which is the slash partition information of all the Linux machines which are available. Now this includes my CentOS and Ubuntu both. So what I'll do over here, I will simply go for diskinfo.yaml and hit enter, give the password. Password you have to type multiple times. That can't be removed from here. Now check this out. It is giving me, let's go from the beginning, 0.5 slash dev slash SDA1. Size is 29 GB overall and 6% is used and 28 GB is remaining over here available and so on. This is entirely on slash. How beautifully it has given the entire details over here. See, this time it is not showing any failed or anything. It just showed task play OK, then tasks, then changed because it has done something and it is now giving the printing the information over here like this. And if you look at the code over here, check the code. Get the disk information from Linux machines, all host, gather fact, yes. And this is the line which is responsible for fetching all the information. Maybe my manager says, G2, that is okay. I want the slash boot information, for example. So I can simply do this, rerun the same code, type the password. Let's see what happens. Okay. It is not giving the slash boot. Okay, we'll figure it out. What is the problem? But this is the way. So using a simple code over here, you can find out what and how exactly you can get all the informations. Similarly, we have one more script, which is full update. This is for basically patching all the machines which are available. So you can see here, update CentOS. If it is CentOS, then this is what will be executed. If it is Ubuntu, then this is what will be executed. Okay, I was doing some testing. OS family Red Hat. Let's see if it works. So full update password. These machines are already up to date. Some of them are newly added. Let's see if it patches them or not. It is skipping some of them. You can see here updating CentOS. Okay, these are already up to date. You can see here why 10 is also added over here because in front of you only I patched that machine and then only I worked with it. So that was only one time. Next time, if you want to patch them, this script itself will do the entire job for you. Now you don't have to again manually log in and then do that. It is only one time job. Now you can simply work with that. And even you can ignore those kind of things also. Like if you have created an Azure virtual machine. So while creating the virtual machine, you get something called as user data. Same we have in AWS also. You can write the commands over there and then commands will be executed by default for you. So it will, the moment the VM is available, you can simply find out that the machine is updated. These are the things that can be done with the help of the scripts that are available over here. And what name says, this is what exactly it is doing. I will remove some of the names. Retry. Retry. So these are the files available. And finally, I told you that these will be available. So I will update this on Git as well. Just give me a second. You can see there are 3 files that are modified in a way. So Git add. You guys don't have to do these Git commands. I'm just doing it for you so that you can get all the uh, updated files and everything. Final data and Git, not push, it is push. Done.